Welcome back. Now, we were supposed to have Mokoena later. Unfortunately, he seems to be having connectivity issues. So, of course, our next guest has offered to speak to us now for the extended period. And I'd like to welcome Jamal Juma, who is a part of the general coordinator, I beg your pardon, of the grassroots movement of the Anti-Apartheid Wall Campaign. The reason why we have Jamal in discussion is that Israeli settler groups have continued their attacks on Palestinian property in the occupied West Bank, even as Israel entered a state of emergency on the ongoing attacks from Iran. Palestinian sources reported that settlers had attacked Palestinian property and set fires near Ramallah, Nablus, and Kalkilia. Jamal, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and shukran so much for joining us.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. It's my pleasure. يعني أنا سعيد إني أكون معكم على تلفزيونكم الرائع.
No, absolute pleasure. I think first, let's start off, Jamal, of course, with the Israeli government's decision to allow settlers to take property even if those who have been living on these lands for so many decades have rights to that property. When you look at it, this is ongoing, continuous attacks that are happening to many villages and many areas amongst the occupied West Bank.
Yeah, first of all, yani, when we talk about settlers, settlers is not functioning alone or like from their own. They do this attacks. They are a terrorist militias that has been organized, run, and also militarized, supported by the Israeli government itself. So they are the spearhead of the implementing of this dirty plans, the fascist colonial plans on the ground, grabbing the land, building outposts, stealing the Palestinians' properties, including land, sheep, agriculture area, burning places in the villages. So they are using them in order to finalize or to push forward the colonial project in the West Bank on the way of annexation, because there is a goal behind all this. So in fact, the settlers, they are totally backed by their military. So no attack happened by settlers without being with them soldiers accompanying them. And they were attacking with them the Palestinians. The minute the Palestinians start to respond to the settlers, the military interfere and start shooting at the Palestinians, arresting them, beating them. This is how they enable the Palestinian, these fascist settlers to burn and to do what they are doing against the Palestinian community. This is one side. The second side is like now they are openly adopted by the government. When we talk about Smotrich, is like creating a special department for settlements and annexation of the West Bank, and he put a big budget to support this the settlers. So they are taking salaries. This young boys that they are looks like the cowboys in the middle of the Palestinian communities all over the West Bank. They are taking salaries. They provide them with drones. They provide them with weapons, training them, and the security and all infrastructure that they need. Even for this pastoral settlements that really became in the last 5-6 years became the way of expulsion of the Palestinians and ethnically cleansing the areas and taking over the Palestinian areas. These settlers are are supported, organized by this ministry. It's not anymore hidden. They are. It's open in their media and their speeches in the Knesset everywhere. Because in fact, this fascist government in Israel now, they are settlers. They are, most of them is living in settlements. They've grown up with what so-called Yesha, which is the settlements council in the West Bank. And they have an ultimate goal now that they are running ahead with time with it in order to annex the West Bank and to finalize the whole settler colonial project in the West Bank, which is based on, in fact, blocking the Palestinian this ghetto system that they are creating in less than 35% of the Palestinian areas, in ethnically cleansing all the rest of the Palestinian land, what so-called Area C, even beyond that. It's been now started to do this in what so-called Area B. This classification that came along with Oslo, and we see that they are using the walls. They were doing this since 2020 when they launched the annexation map during the first Trump period, as a result of a joint team Israeli-Americans that they decide on the West Bank what do they want to annex. Since then, they start demolishing the Palestinian communities especially the agriculture and Bedouin communities in the Jordan Valley. And it has been a little bit difficult steps. But when after the 7th of October, they with the whole intention about this horrible genocide that's going against the Palestinians in Gaza, they accelerate this step. So they declare the West Bank like in a kind of a military area, and they almost curfew. They cut it with 1,000 checkpoints. All Area C, it's not accessible anymore, and they start this groups or gangs of the fascist settlers. They are started to eliminate the Bedouin communities from that area. More than 62 communities that has been expelled totally, and they control by expelling all these Palestinian communities from Area C, from the north to the south of the West Bank. Around like 15% of the West Bank, they take it like this, robbery.
Jamal, I have to stop you there because I want to bring in the videos that we see a lot, of course, on many of the other broadcasters, what we see on social media. And a lot of it comes from young Israelis who go, of course, terrorize, especially elder women. And they come with Israeli occupation force soldiers. And that makes it worse, doesn't it? The fact that they've got the military backing, and all they do is they come, they kick somebody out of their house who has been there for so many decades. They seize the house, and they, of course, send them wherever they feel fit. This is the story of many of the villages in the occupied West Bank, and also a lot of the more urban areas, especially where you are right now in Ramallah.
They are using the same methods, and they are exactly reminding us as the Palestinians of what happened to our grandfathers in the 1948. What you talk about is about targeting women and elderly. Really, this is very, very sensitive, and they're using it to terrorize the Palestinians because, by the way, there's many settlers go in the middle of these Bedouin communities. They are Muslims, and what does it mean for them, like their women particularly. And they go naked in front of the houses, and sometimes they try to attack the women. This is the most thing that that it is really affected the Palestinians. So that's many of these communities has been left, mainly because they started to attack the women, and they started to see this ugly things that they started to do without any shameful feeling in these communities. Worse than that, of course, like what they are doing from beating and trying to kill, and they killed 11 Palestinian farmers in the last year in attacks that they launched against the Palestinian communities. So in fact, this is it's going on, and still even the Israeli government, they use the settlers and what's so-called outposts in order to go around the what's so-called international community, which we don't believe in fact, in this situation, especially after what's happening in Gaza. So in a way, they will say that this is okay, this is like young settlers, they are fanatic, we will deal with them, and this is temporary, but they are really using them very well, and became the spearhead, as I said in the beginning, of implementing their plan, because this huge amount of land that has been taken last year, around 15% of the West Bank that has been stolen this way without any courts. They usually, before that, they usually try to cover their robbery with court decisions or military orders, and that because it's under military orders from the what's so-called civil administration. But now, no, it is like just take over the land, building more as much as they can, these caravans, and put settlers there. And even you hear something, wherever my sheep or cows reach, this is the border of my outpost. You can imagine, it's on all the area. In fact, they were succeeded in the last year to evacuate huge areas. Like, for example, the area from Ramallah, Jerusalem, Ramallah particularly, Ramallah district, until Jordan Valley, it's all ethnically cleansed now. You didn't find any Bedouin community there. And when we talk about Bedouin communities, by the way, it's not about the style of life that they had since since like centuries, like thousands of years. But it is the animal husbandry of the West Bank. That's where we get our milk, our meat, and when we consume like all the animal productions from that areas. So in fact, they are killing one of the main important part of the agriculture sector in the West Bank. This is one, because the other agriculture part is like the tree plantation, and also vegetables is not also away from that, because they control the water, and they are occupying land, controlling the markets, and besieging the communities. So in fact, when we see what's happening in Palestine, it's like we are under attack. It's a war declared on the Palestinian people that's going on non-stop. It's been escalated when there is a conditions that's allow them to do that. Like the case now, for example, with this criminal war against Iran that they started. Also, they escalate the attacks on the Palestinian communities. They burning yesterday. They burned like they cut hundreds of trees in Sinjar. This is in a village.
Jamal, I have to stop there. We have to unfortunately go for a break. We will continue this conversation after the summit conversation with Jamal Juma, coordinator of the grassroots Anti-Apartheid Wall Campaign from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to News in Focus. Jamal, you've mentioned quite aptly that a lot of what happens in the settler attacks in the occupied West Bank is not just done by the settlers. They are given the green light by the Knesset, but most notably two individuals of the far right, Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir. They've clearly made it loud, they've made it bold, they've made it proud that the settler attacks needs to continue. And when you look at what the far right is doing, it's sort of like a green light to go ahead and make sure that this ethnic cleansing is done as quickly as possible.
Exactly, this is their plan, and they are proud of it, as you said. Like even in many places that has been totally ethnic cleansed, like Wad al-Mughayyir, they came there and they celebrate with the settlers. The last location that they have been ethnically cleansed in the area. So they are the one who's doing these crimes. They are the one who's leading this settlers fascist militias that I was mentioning. And today, by the way, the settlers, when they go to attack Bedouin communities, if you look in Khalid al-Dabi and Musafir Yatta and others, they go with the Israeli uniform and the Israeli machine guns. So they talk on the name of the army, the settlers themselves. So it is not, we shouldn't, and people must not separate what the settlers is doing as something separate from the Israeli fascist government plans. Absolutely not. They are the dirty hand that using this and the used for this plans, and they are the one who committing the crimes daily. But the really criminal is this fascist government in Israel. They are the one who commit these crimes against humanity, and the West Bank part, and it can't compare even to the genocide and what's happening in Gaza, and also what's happening what happened in Lebanon, or the war that has been launched on Iran. It is. All this is shows you what is the essence, the reality of the Zionists. And the Zionist is an expanding colonial strategy and mentality, and they are the inheritance of the colonial period of Europe. And they're coming from that area, from that time even.
Jamal, when you look at, of course, what's happening in Gaza, and of course the ICC arrest warrants that have been given to Benjamin Netanyahu, and of course you saw sanctions that were placed by the United Kingdom against Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, but this is not going to stop them. It's quite clear that Israel wants to maintain this ethnic cleansing, be it in Gaza or right now in the occupied West Bank. When we talk of international law and we talk of impunity, it's quite clear that Israel enjoys the impunity part of what is happening.
What's happened in Gaza and what was still happening is put a huge question mark on what's so-called international law and the human rights, international human rights charters, because it's clear, there is like criminal states that they are immune from this. So it's not applied to them. It's applied to us. It's applied to the people, not the Europeans, not the Americans, not the white this white supremacy countries. And in fact, when Britain do this sanctions, it's not the Israelis didn't take it serious, like, because at the end they know like that this is a kind of like whitewashing the ugly face of the British, like, and what they are doing. They are one of the first to support the genocide in Gaza, and they continue like the same the United States, Germany, and France, all this, all of them come to support like Israel and to solidarity with Israel against Gaza. They are providing Israel with all the destructive weapons that they are bombing and killing Gazan people in. And you see the warranty. If you want to talk about the arrest warranty against Netanyahu and Gallant, and it's like it takes so long, like, and it takes almost a year until they get that. After all this, like after the genocide has been taking so much in Gaza, and no implementation whatsoever. We know when Putin, let's say, start the war in Ukraine, it take like a few days, like to give this warranty of arrest for Putin, and he start the biggest criminal in the world. But when it comes to Israel, with all the crimes that they did in the Middle East, and from starting from Gaza until Iran now, and you see that the real position. Now they are bringing their submarines, and they are ready to join the war against Iran, even supporting the criminal war that Israel is launching in Iran. Of course, it's not Israeli. Israel is a colonial stone in the Middle East for the colonial West. It's like it's the cornerstone for their colonialism. That's became proved very well from what was happening lately in the last 2 years up to now. Israel is just like their dog in the Middle East. It is this body that has been rooted here and planted here in the area to keep the fragmentation and to be the police of the area. And that's the whole idea from the attack on Iran, because they want to be the superpower here that will serve the interest of the United States and Europe in general at the end.
Jamal, one final question. As we speak right now, checkpoints are being, of course, enacted by Israel. It's not anything new. This has probably been something that has been occurring since the start of the occupation in 1948. But, of course, for any worshippers, anyone who wants to visit Masjid al-Aqsa, that's where another challenge comes, doesn't it? Because not only are there blockings are happening, but no one really knows who lives in and amongst the community of the Al-Aqsa compound when settlers will come back again, assisted by the Israeli occupation forces, and of course will launch attacks at practically anyone who's there at that vicinity. That's another concern, isn't it? And of course, how are you, as a resident of Ramallah, living under these very difficult conditions right now?
Ramallah from Jerusalem is no more than 14 to 16 kilometers, But generations now, people in their 40s, they never been in Jerusalem. You can walk it in 2 hours. You will be in Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is totally, since Oslo and strictly since 2000, it's became totally forbidden to the Palestinians to go there. And this is like part of like an intensive plan to Judaize the Jerusalem. To target the Palestinians in Jerusalem, to make it a Jewish area, Jewish capital. In fact, they surround it with 181 kilometers of walls, and there is a restricted checkpoints that they are in the way that linking either Bethlehem or Ramallah in. So the Palestinians who is not resident from Jerusalem, it's impossible to go there without any special permissions if they want to go to hospital, or if there is some another strong reason like work or any other things. Other than that, no. But al-Haram or al-Masjid al-Aqsa, this is another story related. They consider that they will not be able to control Jerusalem if they didn't control Al-Aqsa Mosque. So that's why they start this attacks and invasion to Al-Aqsa since now years, trying to force that they have the right to go to Al-Aqsa. And they have been invading Al-Aqsa every day with big numbers. In fact, it also with their politicians, with member parliaments, with ministers, as you see, Ben Gvir is start leading this invasion. The final goal is just to totally to take over or to divide the Al-Aqsa, and they will have the final control and the final word on the Al-Aqsa. It's not anymore Jordan as it should be, and it was in the last 50 or 60 years, 60 years even. So that's what they are trying to do. In the last, when they start the war in Iran, by the way, they take out the Palestinians on the Al-Fajr prayer and the Jerusalemites, of course, the one who's around, living around Al-Aqsa. And they close it. They close it for 3 days. Palestinians can't reach their mosque, their neighbors that they are living next to Al-Aqsa, not the Palestinians in the West Bank. So that it became for them, it's easy for the Palestinian from Ramallah to go to the United States than to go to Al-Aqsa. That's obvious. They can go to Jordan. They can go immediately, take them the taxi and go to the bridge and then cross to Jordan. But it's not the way to Jerusalem as this. So Jerusalem is totally like in a very difficult and dangerous conditions. And when you talk about checkpoints, now there is more than 1,000 checkpoints in the West Bank, and the aiming is just to block the Palestinians in the areas. There is no single village or city, and especially villages, that they don't have gates on the entrance of the village, and the one who controlling it is the military. They open it whenever they want, and when they want to have collective punishment in the village, they will close it. And mostly, like when the settlers move or going there, and there is an action that they are doing, they close the villages on the Palestinians. And you know that since 2 years now, the Palestinians can't reach to their groves, to the olive. They can't pick their olives. Like they just 30% of the olives they were able to pick it in the last 2 years because the settlers attacks and because the closures.
Jamal, unfortunately, we have come towards the end of the time. I wish we had more time, but inshallah, we'd like to have you again on the show to talk more on this. Absolute pleasure having you on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure as well. Thank you.
That's Jamal Juma. He's the general coordinator of the grassroots movement for the Anti-Apartheid Wall. Well, that's all we have for you here on News in Focus from myself, Ross Patel, the rest of the team in Johannesburg. We'll see you again tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.